my second mother was a lady named Anna. Now, the first summer I was in New York, I wasn't gonna go home. I never went back home, but I had to make some money. So I went to the job office at NYU, and a little notice was posted for a person helper. Must love dogs. Well, we grew up with scads of dogs. Anytime anybody would skip the bill and leave their dog, my father would bring it home. So I was great with the dogs and the animals. So I met Anna. And Anna was so exotic to me. Anna was an actress. We just really loved each other. She was such a wasp. That's why she was so exotic to me. She was a wasp. The family was on the social registry. They must have been mortified with her because she became an actress. She went to Vassar. You know, she was a real journeyman actress. And she was a baby. She was a depression baby. I remember working for her, and she had soap scraps in a jar. She never threw away the soap stuff. She would use a tea bag, and then she would hang it on a drying rack in the bathtub to use it again. And, you know, she was a real actor. She was a real actor. She always worked, and she never went anywhere without Ziploc bags. You know, there's a movie of the producers, Mel Brooks, there's a line where he says, actors are animals. Have you ever seen one eat? That was Anna. Richard knows, and she would go out to dinner with us, and her famous line was, pardon my boarding house reach, and she'd grab a piece of whatever you wanted. Whatever you were eating, she needed to have a taste. And she would take it, you know, she would put the leftovers in her Ziploc bags and her big tote. She carried a tote, that's what she called it. Anyway, she was an amazing woman. And she came up way before the Me Too movement. She used to tell me some stories. She told me one time a very famous composer who from the grave she would strangle me if I said who it was, because she was that kind of a lady. She was such a lady. If it were me, I'd say, fuck it, I'm outing the bastard, but not her. She wouldn't want me to do that. Anyway, he backed her up against the wall of a rehearsal. And she giggled and wriggled out and made her way to the elevator. Rehearsal was over. He was just trying to you know, have his way with it. And she came back the next day to rehearsal, and she'd been fired. She used to end little anecdotes like that by saying something along the lines of, and that's why I get so interested in things like the proper proportion of baking soda to flour to produce the perfect bran muffin. Systems. Systems are what kept Anna sane. And for someone who grew up without any, this was a lifesaver. Anna also listened when I talked. I would tell her a story, she'd listen. I would tell her anything, and she would hear me. I really became her sort of daughter, as she called me. And she taught me how to do very basic things that my mother just didn't have the tools for. Denial had become a way of life for my mother. She stayed in a very unhappy marriage for much longer than she should have. I'm not going to talk about my brothers, but let's just say I'm the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest and made it out alive. But, you know, she gave me touchstones, systems. She always took her actor's energy nap in the afternoon with her legs elevated. She always had her salad in the evening. And it didn't matter what was going on, what went well, what didn't. She had her structures, and she knew how to listen. And I know that she's part of the reason I became a coach. My mother